I know we are understandably focused on an imminent government shutdown, which, to be very clear, will be the fault of Republicans. They have the political power trifecta right now, the House, the Senate, the Oval Office. If this government shuts down tomorrow, it will be squarely the fault of Republicans. I know we're focusing on that, but I want to highlight something that might have escaped your attention. My former colleague, Rachel Maddow, bringing it to the forefront last night on her show. It has been the recently unsealed exhibits that were submitted in support of Congresswoman LaMonica McIver's motion to dismiss that was filed back in August. And it has now confirmed what we know. Donald Trump and his administration, with his law lackeys and with his law enforcement lackeys, that they are seeking criminal prosecution of political enemies. End of story. We see it happening with James Comey getting indicted. Last week, we've seen it happen with other people, but I want to focus on Congresswoman LaMonica McIver. I want to focus on these exhibits because she is going to have oral arguments on her motions to dismiss on October 21st. That is right around the corner, people. And when I talk about why the unsealing of these exhibits for the American public to see and to hear with their own eyes and ears why it's so important, Representative McIver moved to dismiss back in August, and she moved to dismiss the 3 counts that have been brought against her for, quote, forcibly impeding or interfering with federal officers. Those are felony charges, and she's looking at a maximum sentence of 17 years in prison if she is convicted. The motion to dismiss that's been filed by McIver is spectacular, and it highlights the hypocrisy of the Trump administration's DOJ. How they have now looked at people like the January 6th insurrectionists and Donald Trump has pardoned them or has commuted their sentences. In other words, he has elevated non-prosecution of people that he likes, and he is now seeking criminal prosecution of people that he doesn't like. McIver, in her motion to dismiss, argues that the Department of Justice is demonstrating, quote, unconstitutional differential treatment by pursuing charges against her while they've dropped almost 1,600 other cases, right? That were facing the same crimes for their actions during the January 6th attack. As she argues, there is a simple difference between this prosecution of Congresswoman McIver and the 160 cases involving assault against federal officers on January 6th that the Justice Department has dismissed. It is all about politics and partisanship. Unlike the January 6th rioters, Congresswoman McIver had every right to be on those premises. Indeed, she was there to do her job. So she's filed 1 motion to dismiss for vindictive prosecution, this idea that there's been a selective decision by the DOJ to go against her and to not go against the January 6th rioters, for example. And a separate motion to dismiss, McIver says that the charges must be dropped pursuant to the speech and debate clause, because she cannot be charged criminally for doing her congressional oversight duties. The speech and debate clause shields lawmakers from any type of legal proceedings because of their legislative acts. She gets absolute immunity, just like Donald Trump got absolute immunity as the president when he's acting within the scope of his role and duties as the president. Well, Congresswoman McIver gets the same absolute immunity pursuant to the speech and debate clause. She was present at Delaney Hall that day alongside other congressmen and women and alongside Newark, New Jersey Mayor Ras Baraka, who we know well here at this channel. She was there doing her congressional oversight of ICE facilities. So whatever happened that day, she can't be prosecuted. She can't even be civilly pursued for any type of action. But let me be clear. Not only does federal law allow her to be doing her congressional oversight duties, because it's a facility that is operated by the Department of Homeland Security. But let me also be clear here. What happened on that day was certainly looking like it was some type of coordinated efforts between DHS, ICE, HSI officers on site at Delaney Hall and the Department of Justice, and we're going to get into that in a second. But as McIver argues in her motion to dismiss, due to legislative immunity, any type of physical contact with any of those officers, and we've seen the video footage. I mean, you can see it right now as I'm speaking, right? We've seen this video footage. It was a literal shoving scrum that was going on, and it was, according to McIver, a, quote, torrent of jostling, end quote. It was chaos. Why? because those DHS, ICE officials, those agents, in their illegal arrest of Newark Mayor Ras Baraka, caused the chaos, caused the insanity, the physical jostling that was going on that McIver got caught up in. And in fact, McIver got shoved so forcibly that she got assaulted by agents that were there that day. And let me tell you something. We're only getting this information because of the body cam footage that thus far has been turned over in the criminal prosecution case of McIver. And in that body cam footage, I'm going to thank Rachel, my friend, for having done a little bit of the work for me right now, because I'm going to play a portion of what Rachel showed on her show last night. And I want you to take a listen. I want you to watch what she's highlighting. Take a listen.
No, I got it. We're taking them right now. All right. Well, let me talk.
This is bullshit. We've been waiting an hour now.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm going to take them right now.
You think about this today?
Okay. That's good. Okay. Come on.
But now you're kidding.
Okay, even though we stepped out, I'm going to put them in cuffs.
We're for over an hour. And we have the right to be in there.
All right, I'm cuffing them right now. All right. Guys, listen to me. We're going to walk out of the gates. I'm going to place the mayor in handcuffs, okay? We are arresting the mayor right now. Per the Deputy Attorney General of the United States. Anyone that gets in their way, I need you guys to give me a perimeter so I can cuff them and get them on there. If you have body cams, turn them on, okay?
He advised his security clearly is on and went for his weapon while we were engaged. So please, let's just be
We'll walk him back in here. Okay? I already told him on camera that he was under arrest. We're going to place him under arrest. Come on. All right, guys, stay with us. Be careful.
Yeah, that's the one. I'll bring it.
Okay, so as we can see in here from what Rachel just highlighted, you have a DHS official. That man's name is Ricky Patel. And you clearly hear him say on that body cam footage, quote, "I am arresting the mayor. Even though he stepped out, I'm going to put him in cuffs." Why? Who told him to do it? Patel says on that body cam footage, the Deputy Attorney General of the United States. Who's that? Todd Blanche, convicted felon Donald Trump's personal attorney, who happens to also wear the hat of Deputy Attorney General of the United States. By the way, those 34 felony convictions, those happened on Todd Blanche's watch. Him and Emil Bovee, the Third Circuit Federal Court of Appeals judge, who is also personal counsel for Donald Trump. So Patel is ordered by Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, to illegally arrest Newark Mayor Ras Baraka. And as those DHS and HSI and ICE agents go out, as you saw, masked, armed to the gills, as they go out to effectuate that illegal arrest of Mayor Baraka, LaMonica McIver, the Congresswoman, gets caught up in the chaos and in the torrent of jostling, as it's been described by McIver. Now look, one of the pending motions is also to compel discovery from the federal prosecutors in LaMonica McIver's case because they have failed and refused to turn over additional body cam footage. Of whom? Well, here we go. She wants the body cam footage from the officer who not only shoved her and committed that assault and that crime against her, but she also wants it from the officer that she allegedly assaulted. And so far, the government refuses to provide her that in her initial discovery requests. In addition, back in August, Congresswoman McIver filed a motion to remove extrajudicial statements, meaning statements that have been made outside of the court proceedings, as they have been unfairly prejudicial and harmful to her case. And let me tell you something. What happened? Well, here we go. DHS, the Trump administration, said to DHS, you got to take this shit down. So what was taken down? DHS's initial statement on the Delaney Hall event. That was removed by DHS. And 4 other removed posts included a statement that was allegedly rebutting fake news narratives about law enforcement that said McIver was trespassing at Delaney Hall, which we know is a lie. A statement on DHS's website claiming that McIver and an unrelated California Democrat were, quote, openly encouraging violence against law enforcement, another lie. A statement claiming McIver had trespassed while connecting her to a rise in assaults on ICE agents, a lie. And a post from DHS's X account on that cesspool of X featuring video of Congresswoman McIver, quote, storming the gate of Delaney Hall Detention Center and assaulting an ICE agent, end quote. Those have since been removed. Why? Because maybe somebody who actually has a conscience and a brain at freaking DHS figured out that that type of shit of extrajudicial statements are incredibly harmful, prejudicial, and they're lies. They're lies about Congresswoman McIver. So those are the four motions: a motion to dismiss for vindictive prosecution, a motion to dismiss for legislative immunity, a motion to compel discovery, and a motion to remove extrajudicial statements, which in some ways has already occurred on those extrajudicial statements, right? Because those have been taken down. But the harm's been done. Let me be clear. Just because you take it down doesn't mean the harm hasn't been done on a potential jury pool. Now, oral arguments have been scheduled for October 21st. And I got to tell you, you know what's still pending too? Mayor Ras Baraka's lawsuit against Alina Habba, who, by the way, federal judge in Pennsylvania has ruled that Habba's appointment as the U.S. attorney in New Jersey, that it was not only improper, invalid, and illegal. So any prosecutions that have been done by Habba and under Habba have been ruled to not be valid. So in other words, because Habba in her hubris and her arrogance and her stupidity remains as the U.S. attorney in New Jersey, federal prosecutions under her have screeched to a halt. If you live in New Jersey, I've told you this before, and you care about public safety, you care about your own safety, you should demand the removal of Alina Habba. But no, she's so arrogant as to think that people actually want her there, the parking lot lord extraordinaire. Look, this is really important, people, because when you have these illegal prosecutions of your political opponents, courtesy of Donald Trump, you have perverted the criminal justice system. We talked about this in terms of the Comey indictment. When you hijack the independence of prosecutors, and when you illegally prosecute your political enemies, you have distorted and perverted the criminal justice system. It is debatable what you hear Ricky Patel say in that audio, right? Does he call for those officers to turn off their body cams or to turn on their body cams? It's kind of weird why he would say to tell them to turn it on. I mean, obviously the body cams are on. That's how we got this footage. Sounds like he told them to turn it off, which would also be improper and not right. We are going to be watching very carefully what happens on October 21st at these oral arguments. This is an important case to watch, people. She is a sitting congresswoman. Remember, they tried to censure her, they being the Republicans in Congress, and 5 Republicans defected and did not support it, and so that censure motion didn't pass. But it just goes to show how the weaponization of a critical federal agency like the Department of Justice can have horrific results. So let's watch this carefully, people, and let's be grateful. Let's be grateful for the release of this body cam footage so we can see for ourselves exactly the fact that Todd Blanche has his dirty fingerprints all over the illegal arrest of Mayor Baraka, which, need I remind you, not only got dropped by Alina Habba, but in doing so, she got chastised royally by a federal judge for her lack of prosecutorial discretion, her lack of thoughtfulness, her lack of authority in doing it. She got schooled, and hard, and appropriately so. Let's see what happens in this prosecution of a sitting congresswoman. Katie Phang here. We launched the Katie Phang News channel in partnership with the Midas Touch Network so we could bring you the latest in legal and political news. Straight, no chaser. So if you're a fellow truth teller, hit that subscribe button and share the word about this channel so we can build a high information America together.